Hi, and welcome to another episode of Parabola. This is episode 7, and on this episode I will again discuss a Stephen King novella, and this one is The Mist. I was eager to read it and watch it again and compare so that I could do this review. Now, you might wonder, what is The Mist about? If you haven't read it, The Mist is about this summer storm that happens that causes havoc in this small New England town, and it creates or brings with it this kind of strange mist that looks kind of supernatural. It doesn't look like a regular mist, especially at that time of the year. So our main character, David Drayton, he lives there with his wife and 5-year-old kid. And the day after the storm, he decides to go to the supermarket in town to get a few supplies, and he brings along his neighbor who he has kind of a beef with. They don't really get along very well. Once they get there, things start developing fairly quickly. So they're in the supermarket, the mist starts coming into town and getting thicker, and people start getting worried, and there's talk that there's something in the mist that's getting people. So we have our main character, David, with his kid, and they're stuck in the supermarket as the mist just surrounds them and everything. They can't even see the cars in the parking lot. The interesting thing about this story, although it's more horrific than the novellas that I've been discussing previously, the most interesting part I found about this story is the human behavior. We got all these people stuck in a supermarket. Everybody has their own beliefs, and as things progress and people get more and more scared, their fears shows that side of people that's hidden when things are safe, when we know what to expect from our day-to-day. And we start seeing the differences in people. We have David, who's an artist. He's there with his kid. There's a few people he knows in town. He's a native of the town. Then we have his neighbor, who's actually from, I believe, New York, and he just spends the summers there, so he's an out-of-towner. He's this big lawyer who, in a way, he thinks he's better than the townspeople, more rational, more educated, whatnot. Then we have the, I guess, psychic or, I don't know, religious extremist in the town, Mrs. Carmody. All these characters are very different in the way that they face the circumstances. So we have, on the one hand, the lawyer who gets his group of people, and they refuse to believe that there's something in the mist that just escapes their comprehension. It's not reasonable. It doesn't make any sense. We have David and his group of people who, they know what's going on, they face it heads on, and they try to deal with it the best way possible. And then we have Mrs. Carmody, who is, as I said, this religious fanatic, and she thinks this is punishment from God, and they have to make amends, and they have to do something to appease him. So she starts, at first they all look at her like a crazy person, nobody really listens to her, but as things get worse and worse, people tend to believe anything to make things better. So she starts gathering a following, and at one point they want to sacrifice David's son. At that point, David and a group of people have decided that they're going to escape, get into a car, the one that's close to the store's doors, and go for it and see what happens. In the book, we have a few survivors. We have David, his son, and 2 women. Also, in the book, although David is pretty sure that his wife didn't make it, knowing what he knows about the mist, he feels pretty bad that he won't see her again, or he believes he won't see her again. And there's this very attractive woman in the supermarket. She's also married. She's got a gun that her husband gave her to protect herself for whatever reason, and she and him have kind of a little affair. The first night that they spent in the supermarket, and of course that's used against them when they're confronted by the religious fanatic. So yeah, so this is a really interesting setting to see how people behave, what brings people to their worst, and what situations make people react the way that they do. And that's one of the reasons I really like this book. Of course, as usual, I like the way it was written. I've said this before, the way that King develops dialogue is very natural and very credible and relatable. So the book, it's a quick read. It's less than 200 pages, 100 something, and it's good. And at the end of the story in the book, some of the people who decide to go for it get to the car, other ones die on the way by these creatures that lurk in the mist. And they have a gun with 3 bullets, so worst comes to worst, David figures that if this nightmare doesn't end, he'll just shoot the three other people, and he'll figure out a way to end himself. But however, in the book, the ending is open-ended. We don't know what happens. They just go out with the car, and it stays there. There's no closure. It's up to the reader to imagine whatever you want to imagine, whether the mist just expands across states, countries, the whole world, we don't know, or whether it's resolved. And the other thing is that they believe that this mist was something created by the government, and the creatures lurking in the mist are kind of from another dimension or another portal. Nothing is really clear as a fact in the book. There's all speculation. They don't really know exactly what's going on. They don't know exactly what's happening. The book was pretty good. I would recommend reading it. Now, if we look at the movie, again, another movie directed by Frank Darabont. He adapted another King novella. He did a pretty good job.
So bad, you just gotta come on. Whoa!
Having spoken, the doomsayer departs.
Come on.
Why don't you get Billy dressed? I'll take him into town with him. Hit the store before it gets all bought out.
How'd you folks hold up in the storm?
Big insurance day.
Sorry to hear that.
What's going on? It's death.
Something in the mist! Shut the doors! Shut the doors!
The only way we're going to help ourselves is to seek rescue.
Tie this around your waist.
Before.
Well, let us know you got at least 300 feet.
There's nothing out there. Nothing in the mist.
What if you're wrong?
Then I guess the joke would be on me.
It is time to take sides. Read the good book. It calls for blood.
Guys, I hear something.
Are those bugs?
Not like any I've ever seen.
The entire front of this store is plate glass.
Promise you won't let the monsters get me.
What are you guys messing with up there?
I thought that there were other dimensions. They wanted to try and make a window.
Well, maybe your window turned out to be a door.
Who she's gonna sacrifice to make it all better?
We want the boy.
You try it.
Kill him!
The thing I liked about the movie, starred by Thomas Jane, who plays David, Marcia Gay Harden, who plays Miss Carmody, and she's phenomenal to me. She's the best part of the the movie. She does such a great job, and she's so believable. Laurie Holden playing the female that in the book he has an affair with. This doesn't happen in the movie. And Andre Braugher, he is the big-time lawyer. And Toby Jones, who is the clerk in the supermarket, who is with David all along. They kind of work together and they're kind of on the same page. So I really liked the movie. Remember when I saw it the first time? It's kind of a horror movie. Of course, there's this creatures that we don't really see much of, except for the giant bugs that attack the supermarket at night, and some actually get in. And we have some sort of, I don't know, weird lobster kind of creature. We've got spiders. So for all the spider phobic people out there, I would say be warned. There's creepy little, not little, huge spiders in there. And there's some octopus kind like creatures, and they're all bloodthirsty. And they kill pretty much anything that breathes. Between the movie and the book, there is little difference. I mean, some of the characters are slightly different described in the book as they are in the movie, such as Miss Carmody. In the book, she's an older lady, much heavier than Marcia Gay Harden. There is that affair that happens in the book that doesn't happen in the movie. And the movie adds a few more elements, like there's one guy in the military who gets sacrificed in the movie. He doesn't exist in the book. The cashier, she gets a bigger role in the movie. And there's a little bit of a love story in there as well between her and the military guy. Other than that, I would say it's pretty close to the book. And I mean, some characters die in the book, they don't die in the movie. Mrs. Carmody's fate is the same on both. But there is one huge difference, and that's the ending. As I said in the book, the ending is open-ended, so it's up to interpretation what happens. Whereas in the in the movie, we get closure. David and a couple other people escape with him. Not the same people as in the book. In the movie, there's actually 5 people with him in the book. Like I said, there's 4. They get to a point where they're surrounded by mist. They run out of gas, and they figure, you know what, this is it. This is the end. And they hear all these noises, so they figure there are these monstrosities that are going to get them and kill them and eat them or whatever. Basically, have a pretty crappy death. So at that point, David decides to shoot everybody. Well, I mean, he doesn't murder them. They kind of decided on it. So he shoots everybody, including his son, gets out of the car to face his fate, whatever that may be, and the military come. And they save the day. There's no more monsters, and that's the ending, and it's so brilliant. I mean, so well done. So, of course, I mean, when I read the book, I knew that the ending was different because I had read at one point, but after the movie came out, which was 2007, that Stephen King was pretty happy with the ending in the movie. He said something that, something like it was better than his ending. And I didn't know really what to expect in the book, but definitely the movie ending is much better because it's got that shock value. And I find that Frank Darabont did an excellent job. I guess, again, he kind of superseded the novel. I mean, except for The Green Mile, that for me they were kind of similar in terms of how much I liked them. But yeah, like he did an excellent job, and I thought the movie was pretty awesome. I would really recommend both. I mean, obviously, if you watch the whole episode, you know what's gonna happen. You can still watch them. knowing what's gonna happen, or you already watch them and you're watching my review to see how it compares to what you thought or you liked about it. Those are my 5 cents about it. I hope you like, what is this? What's this mist? Huh? Hello? Hello? What the fuck? I'm okay. See you next episode. Take care.